Hey everybody, so the other day I was driving around and noticed that my AC isn't working all that great. It's not very cold, and so I thought maybe there might be a leak or some air in the system or something like that. So what I was going to do is vac the system and then refill it. But then when I went to take off my ports, or the port caps, I noticed that it hissed, and I could see it was leaking a little bit in the Schrader valve in there. So let me see if I can take this off and if it'll hiss again. Probably didn't hear that, but it did hiss. And you can see a little bit there, it's bubbling out. At least I can. I don't know if the camera will see that. But so I got a little leak there. So what I was going to do is I bought some new valves. So I'm going to put those in. First I'm going to drain and collect the old Freon and dispose of it. So I'm going to take it to the college where I'm taking auto classes, and they have a collection system to drain the old Freon. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back and show you how to replace those two Schrader valves. Alright, so now it's been drained and collected, and I'm going to take this removal tool. Came in this kit I bought, and then you just put it down in there, and I'm going to take a pair of pliers here and loosen that, and then spin those out. And then same with this one here. Take the tool, loosen it a little bit with pliers, and we can spin it out. I'm gonna grab some needle nose pliers so I can get those the rest of the way out of there. Go ahead and pull those out of there. Alright, I'm gonna grab two new ones here. So there's the two new valves. Just gonna put that right in there. Put one in there. And then I'm gonna spin these actually backwards for a couple spins until I hear them kind of click into place there. And then I'm gonna thread them in. That just helps avoid cross threading and all that good stuff. I'm gonna take the pliers and tighten them just a little bit with the pliers. Not gonna overdo it. And that's about it on those. So I rented this vacuum pump and gauge set from my auto parts store here, and the vacuum pump actually happened to be a brand new one. So I looked in the directions, and it says it has a bottle of oil that came with it. It says to fill up the oil right to the center of this site here to the level, and then it said to run it with this 1/4 inch cap off for 15 seconds, then shut it off, put the cap back on, and check the oil level again. Once it's full, then you're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So that's right at about the level there. I'm gonna replace this top cap here, and then remove this 1/4 inch cap and let it run for 15 seconds. I'm gonna look at the level here, and it looks like it's still where it should be. So I'm gonna connect up the gauges. All right, so I got the gauges hooked up there. Red hose goes to high, blue hose goes to low, and then they go down to these quick disconnects here. And then the yellow hose runs off the center right down to your vacuum pump, and that connects right on top there. Another note on this yellow hose, one of the ends has this extra little point sticking out there. And that appears to be the one that actually connects to the gauges. So that's the one that goes up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the quick disconnects here. You wanna make sure when you hook them up that this top knob is spun all the way out counterclockwise. That's what presses the Schrader valve down once you have it connected. So you want to make sure it's all the way up, and then you pull this quick release and you press it down over your port. Kind of support your port when you do that. It'll click into place, and then you can spin this down all the way shut. So just make sure it's all the way spun out like that, and then connect it on. Click into place, you can push that down then. So with that all hooked up, so both these valves are shut, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the vacuum pump here, and then open up the low side. All the way. And then as you can see there, it's already pulling down on the system. And so I'm gonna let that run for about an hour or so, and then I'm gonna shut it off and let it sit overnight just to check for any leaks. I'll be able to watch the gauge then and make sure that it stays where I left it. All right, so it's been about an hour now. It's dark, and I'm gonna just check the gauge here. It looks like it's right past 25, maybe on the 26 mark there. And so what I'm gonna do first is shut the low side valve all the way. Make sure they're both shut. And then I'm gonna shut the vacuum pump off. And then that gauge should hold right there where it is if there's no leaks. So I'm gonna leave that overnight and check it again in the morning and see if we're where we should be. And then I'll start putting the new Freon in. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I'm looking at the gauge here, and it looks like it dropped down maybe 1 or 1.5 pounds, but that could just be change in temperature, expansion, or whatever. Not too worried about that. It also could be a small leak in any of these fittings here or here. So for overnight, I don't think that's too big of a deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up to put some new Freon in there. Okay, so now I'm gonna take these quick disconnects off, screw this top part all the way out first, and then you can pull up the release and take it off your tube. So my car takes 19 ounces of Freon. I bought 2 of these cans, and then I also bought one that has 2 ounces of oil in it and 1 ounce of Freon. So I'm gonna put one of these in first, and then probably the oil charge, and then fill it up with the other can. And I'm gonna be using one of these reusable gauges here, and I'll just use that to set the correct amount. It has the little, you have to get one of these plastic adapters if you get the new cans with the self-sealing valves. Okay, so once you have the can connected, you can take the other end and put it on your low side port. Just pull up on the release, press it onto there. So I've started the car now, but the AC is still off. So I'm gonna put some in before I turn the AC on, as much as it will take with the can. Alright, so I'm going to turn the AC pump on now, and then turn the fan to high, and also turn on recycle. Just turn your AC to max, all the way cold. The AC pump is spinning now, so now we can go ahead and pull in the rest of the cans. You can set this gauge to the right temperature. So I'm going to set it to 85, and then that's the range you need to hit with the needle. That can's about empty now. I'm going to unscrew that and put on the oil charge one. So to read this gauge, you set it to the temperature you want, and then the AC pump has to be engaged and running, and you have to let off the trigger, and then you can read where it is. So right now the AC pump's running, and that's where it's showing on the gauge. Alright, so that can's empty. Because my system takes 19 ounces, I've put in 13 so far with the 2 cans I put in. So I'm gonna kind of base the last 6 off of what the gauge says, and it'll be about half this can weight, so. Alright, so this is the 3rd can now. Okay, we're getting a little bit closer there. Once the can gets pretty empty, I'm just folding it upside down to get the last little bit out. Okay, so we lost a little bit screwing one of the cans onto the gauge, so we ended up putting all 3 of them in, and that seems about right. It's running nice and cold now, so that should be good. So I think that'll about do it for this video. I hope this helps somebody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.